What's going on, everyone? Nick or Catalyst here. Thank you for tuning into the video as always. Before we get started, I just wanted to ask all of you awesome people out there to click the notifications bell right by the subscribe button so that you never miss an upload. It really helps me out as a smaller YouTuber, so any and all support is appreciated. But with that out of the way, let's talk about what you all clicked on the video for, and that is what you are watching in the background right now, which is Incursions. Yes! It is finally here, after about a year or so of waiting, the game mode that is supposed to bring Battlefield into the mainstream competitive market. But, how is it? Well, let's talk about it. Make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and let's break this down a little bit. So I know that a fair portion of my audience is on the non-competitive side of Battlefield, so in that case, first I'm going to kind of break down Incursions, if you by any chance do not know what the game mode is and why it's kind of a big deal. Now, it is a disclaimer that I should make that Incursions has been out on PC for a fair while now, so if you are a PC player and a subscriber of mine, this is probably not new news to you, but for all console players on Xbox and PlayStation, this might be new news to you. So on Tuesday morning, Incursions came to console, and it was kind of a quiet announcement, but the devs were sending out some suspicious tweets, so we kind of knew what was coming out a little bit. Incursions is a new competitive Battlefield mode made from scratch with the input of the community in mind that pits 10 players against each other in teams of 5 in 3 different game types: King of the Hill, Squad Assault, and the title game mode Incursions. The game modes themselves are pretty self-explanatory. King of the Hill requires 2 teams to rush to a central point and fight over that point, gaining tickets for successfully staying on the objective for a set amount of time, and this happens over 3 different sectors. Squad Assault is your miniature 5v5 version of operations where the teams attack and defend. They take turns. Just defending certain sectors, trying to get farther than the opposing team. Think like a payload type game mode from Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch, but without the actual payload. That game mode you are seeing in the background right now. The final mode, Incursions, is kind of a mix between Frontlines and Conquest. The 2 teams rush to capture a center flag, and once that center flag is captured, the prevailing team on that capture has the ability to go and capture their opponent's base flag, but are also required to protect the flag that they just captured. So it turned into a game of conquest, but with a completely different point system. Everything you do in-game gives you a ticket. Capturing an objective, killing a player, wiping a team, it gives you a ticket. Get 10 tickets to acquire a point, and you can get a maximum of 5 points before switching sides and a maximum of 10 points total in the match. Hope that all made sense. It's easier to play than it is to explain. Now, with that all being said, what do I actually think of Incursions overall? Well, at first, I was not a fan of it at all. A lot of my experiences were directly correlated with random teammates that either had no clue what they were doing, or weren't playing their selected class the way they were supposed to, or were just on a lower level than myself, and it resulted in a lot of one-sided games, giving and receiving. And there were some game-breaking bugs as well. A lot of this you can see on the live stream that I did when it first came out. There was a bug that did not allow us to spawn, and we all had to forfeit the match. However, once I got to play with my team against another coordinated team, the potential of Incursions really shines through, and I was beginning to have a lot of fun. One thing that I forgot to mention in my description above is that a role system has completely taken the place of a class system in the main game. There are about 10 classes to choose from, each with different abilities and 2 weapons to choose from, which provides for some interesting combinations that are not possible in the main game. For instance, the Proximity Recon kit has both the MP-18 trench and the Russian 1895 trench as choices for weapons, so a submachine gun and a sniper, and his 2 gadgets are AT mines and sniper decoys that actually help you capture the objective. And there is a kind of an in-game progression system that levels you up and your gadgets the better you do in the match. The example of what you are seeing on screen now is with my favorite kit, which is the Control Leader, and my level 2 ability transforms my smoke launcher to allow me to have the effect of 3 smoke grenades, even though I only launch 1, so it covers a more broad area with smoke. So it really blends the classes together well to fit various playstyles, and you can switch your weapons in the middle of the game. One thing that you cannot do, however, in ranked is switch your kits, and I do agree with this decision, but it is a little heavy-handed at the moment, because you have one chance to pick your class at the very beginning, and then you cannot change it for the duration of the match. I'm not suggesting that you can switch whenever you want to, but I do think that you should be able to re-pick your kits at halftime to either revamp strategy or counter a tank if you don't have one. I recognize that the way that it currently is brings an amount of weight to your decision, but there is more fun and more strategy to be had with being able to switch once at halftime. I do also wish that there was a third option for weapon choice, as you really get pigeonholed into using a certain weapon for certain classes, and I get that in essence that's the idea, is to make you live with your choices, but from a fun gameplay perspective, I think each class needs a third choice of weapon. But besides all that, I really enjoy the kit system in the game. I think it takes a lot of good things from other competitive shooters and makes them its own, and I look forward to the addition of extra characters if they decide to do that. As for the actual gameplay itself, that's where things begin to fall apart just a little. I have played all 3 maps in the game, and I would have to say that by far my favorite game mode is the title Incursions game mode, which plays on Giant Shadow, which, by the way, it is worthy to mention that DICE has changed a lot of the map layout for a fair portion of the maps, additional cover and areas that are brand new, and they all look really good. But back to the point, I liked Giant Shadow and the Incursions mode the best. I think it had the best flow, the right amount of strategy to it, and I had the most fun on that map. Second, I would have to say Amiens and Squad Assault is the second best, but it does have some balancing issues, as I'll get into later on. Sinai Desert, or the King of the Hill mode, I hated. I did not really enjoy any of my experiences on that map, and I don't think that it's a mode that suits Battlefield very well. Now granted, I have not played a game of King of the Hill with my team yet, so maybe that may have something to do with the opinion on this, but as of now, I don't like Sinai. A lot of people don't like Sinai, and I think that the title game mode of Incursions is the best mode, and I would really like to see it extended to the other maps to see how it does. Another thing that I really enjoyed was the new call-out system. 3D spotting is turned off, and if you don't know what 3D spotting is, it's when you spot someone in Battlefield and you see a red marker with their class above their head. That is off in Incursions, so you don't see that. So you don't know where people are as easily. So in replacement of that, a system has been implemented where you can mark objectives and enemy positions with the spot button, and it brings up a HUD symbol that tells you the name and location of where players have been spotted by your teammates. I thought it was very cool and beneficial, and almost every landmark on the map has a name, so it really helps with map knowledge and callouts, so that was really well done. Now you're probably thinking, well, the title of the video says that the game mode is just okay, and this guy has been very positive, and to be truthful, I have been, but the state of the mode now has 2 very huge flaws that destroy a lot of the fun and potential that you see well in game. The first of which being is that I think that the game modes have a pretty substantial pacing issue, and that really has to do with the spawning system, and to a lesser extent the map design. Currently in the game, you cannot spawn on all of your teammates. You can only spawn on a leader kit, so that is either the raid leader or the control leader. And since these kits are completely optional to choose, you may find yourself in games where someone doesn't pick these kits at all, and you will be stuck spawning at your home base every single time. Now, these leader kits allow you to spawn either directly on them or via spawn beacons, depending on which kit you choose. But if you get killed, or if your leader gets killed and doesn't get revived, you will be spawning all the way back at base, and those walks can be a bit tedious sometimes. They aren't abnormally large, but they aren't close by any means, especially if you are getting rolled and your leader is getting killed over and over again. Those walks can become a bit of a pain. And that kind of leads to a lot of pacing issues in the game, where there are periods of intense action, but there are also periods of extreme downtime if you are running around with randoms, and smaller lengths of time with a coordinator team. And I'm not opposed to downtime, but at times it just felt like I was waiting for the other team to get back to the point rather than making myself useful, either flanking, providing smoke cover or ammo or whatever. And I think an easy way to fix this is to just simply move the home base spawn up just a little bit, because I like the gameplay element of not being able to spawn on your teammates as a whole. It brings weight to your life, and I really enjoy that, but as it is now, pacing is an issue with the game mode, and if it's noticeable with coordinated teams and coordinated teammates, I can't imagine what a public ranked game is like. Speaking of ranked games, there isn't a strong enough penalty for leaving games. The penalty time is currently 5 minutes. And I'm not sure about you, but I can go to the bathroom, make myself a snack, maybe take a shower if I'm fast enough, and then come back and have it be done like it was nothing. The penalties definitely need to be steeper because I had so many teammates back out of games when we were losing, so DICE needs to up the ante on the punishment for leaving early. Also, just thinking ahead, there should be a report system implemented for players that throw matches, grief, don't participate, etc, etc. It isn't an issue now, but my experience with competitive multiplayer games tells me that it is a necessity at some point, and it could become a problem later. The final and most annoying critique on the game now is that the matchmaking and party system is absolutely atrocious. As it is in the current game, you can only squad up with one other person. Only one. And you can't even join a match if someone else is in the party with you because of how Battlefield 1 does the party system. For instance, Messi and myself were trying to get into a game, and our buddy Pity enters the party. You all know Pity, I'm sure. The game physically prevented us from entering the game because Pity was in the party, so you can't even have people to hang out in your party chat while you are playing Incursions. In fact, you can't do anything in the game with 3 or more people in the party chat. I couldn't even join the practice range. It's not even an actual game. I couldn't join the practice range, even though I wasn't in the game with the rest of my squad. Even when I was doing a private match with coordinated teams the other night, we couldn't remain in the party chat because the game would not let us join it because we had more than 2 people. We all had to back out of the party chat and into game chat to even be able to play with one another. That's a big issue. A big issue. And it kind of pisses me off because yes, I know you are afraid of people 5-stacking and rolling over teams of new players trying to learn the game. I get it, but think about who your target audience is with this game mode. It's not Randy No Thumbs. You are targeting players with varying degrees of competitive experience and interest. You need to expect teams to 5-stack because that is, in essence, a big part of the competitive gaming. And you are playing with your team, not just one friend and 3 random people. DICE had a year to prepare for this and learn and know competitive gaming, and this party system absolutely sucks right now. There is no reason for why I have to jump through this many hoops just to play with my team, and I can't even play with my team in ranked because of this issue, and there is also no excuse for the game completely locking you out of itself if there is more than 2 people in the party. That third person doesn't even have to be playing the game and you'll get locked out, and that's extremely annoying. I understand the need to restrict matchmaking to make sure everything is working and all, and you want to avoid stopping, but DICE, you had an entire year, even more probably, to make sure that your matchmaking was working, and it really sucks that you have to have the dedicated players jump through hoops to even be able to play your competitive mode together. And that's about all for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, make sure you drop a like on the video and please comment below. I am curious to know what you all think of Incursions, if you have played it, if you plan to play it, and if you plan to play it, Incursions is formally on the same, I guess, code that was the CTE. So if you had the CTE downloaded, all you have to do is re-download the CTE and Incursions will be on it. But if not, it is in the in-game store as well as in an in-game tab in Battlefield 1 and by the options, I think it is. So if you're interested, you can go there searching for it. But if not, if you're just watching this, tell me what you think of it. I want everybody's opinions on this. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Dicker Catalyst, and I will see you all another time.